tying into the massive success of Mad Max Fury Road, Vertigo has put out a series of tie-in comics, little origin slices on some of the characters from the movie who may not have been as fleshed out. A couple months back we got Immortan Joe and Nux, and now we have Imperator Furiosa, really the breakout star of the movie, and I don't think I'm too far in saying that. As we dig on into the comics, we see Immortan Joe Citadel, which I think is quickly becoming one of my favorite fictional places. We get to check in with the brides and their personal doctor, the Organic Mechanic, which is such a great Mad Maxian name. As we find out, Joe is very protective of his wives, and protective for a good reason, because he's got all of his sons, and the Organic Mechanic himself were, kind of getting a little grabby, getting a little gropey, and in some cases getting a little violent. Now, Joe has already gone above and beyond to try and make sure that his wives are smart and cultured. He's actually provided them Giddy, an old woman, or Wordburger, as we found out in previous issues, a storyteller who educates the women and makes sure that they grow up smart. Although the interesting thing, and the comic even says this, that it's funny how knowledge often breeds rebellion. I really gotta take my hat off to the art in this one. Immortan Joe looks especially sickly and horrible. We actually get to see him in many states of undress, and he's covered in a bunch of oozing, ugly pustules. Needless to say, the brides, they're not having a fun time. Eventually, Joe takes the ultimate next step in protecting his brides and making sure no one can get at them, and that is assigning them a bodyguard, more or less. That bodyguard is Imperator Furiosa. And how funny is it that, well, she ended up stealing the movie, arguably, from Mad Max, with the movie being more about her than it was him. This comic is actually more about the brides than it is about Furiosa. Oh, they allude to a couple things here, that her arm was cut off. She wasn't born that way, but I had pretty much already assumed that. They imply that maybe she was a bride before them, but again, they never exactly say it. Eventually things get so bad with one of the brides that she commits a very heinous clothespin abortion, and it's really bloody and really horrifying. I can't believe they are pushing it so hard with the content that they were. Needless to say, that's pretty much the final straw for Furiosa, and this is the inciting incident of her wanting to get the girls out of there. And essentially the comic ends where the movie begins, with her taking them out on the war rig, and that's the end of it. Overall, Imperator Furiosa, the Mad Max tie-in, was enjoyable for what it was. I don't think it really added a lot more. The Nux and Immortan Joe ones added a lot of stuff that we had never seen and maybe even really couldn't properly think of. This one it's okay, is the thing, but it is kind of a tease. I actually did want to learn a lot more about Furiosa, about, where she comes from, the land of the many mothers, maybe some of those characters. But no, this was definitely a bride-centric story, and the big takeaway is, hey, didn't they have it rough? And yeah, I took that away from the movie. They had it pretty damn rough. Overall, though, I really do love the idea of Mad Max comics, and I hope now that the film franchise has been revitalized so much, here's hoping these Vertigo comic series can stay around. I mean, honestly, I would read a weekly Mad Max comic, wouldn't you? At the end of the day, though, I end up giving this comic a B-.